So we're now to my top 5, and I believe my number 5 team you will not have had on your top 5. That's my guess, because you now 2 teams.
Yeah.
The Angels.
Really?
Love it. Love it.
And that's why you're rocking the Angels. Well, one of the reasons.
Well, we're going to talk a little more about the Angels here in a minute. But I like what they have done, and we have a lot to talk about that just came up with the ownership that I'm not saying that the ownership is the reason they're having a top 5 offseason. I like what they've done. And the reason that we're not talking about it more is because the Angels have been the Angels of the last few years. And, they're just somebody's going to get hurt and they're not going to be great and they're not going to have the pitching. Well, guess what? You start looking at this team on a surface that you'll start with Mike Trout and you'll start with Shohei Ohtani. And then you look around and Anthony Rendon is there, and there's obviously a core of an elite team, but they needed a lot of help. And this offseason, they go out and add Tyler Anderson from the Dodgers, who was fantastic last year. Mm-hmm. You add Brandon Drury, who is a very underrated good piece. You add Hunter Renfroe, who is a stud. You add Gio Urshela. Then you start looking at this lineup, and it's not going to be Trout, Ohtani, Rendon, and then fall off a cliff, and it's the rest of the lineup. It's going to be Trout, Ohtani, Rendon, Brandon Drury, Hunter Renfroe, Gio Urshela, Jared Walsh. You've got some studs now. You've got a really good lineup. This team has vastly improved from what they were, and we just aren't talking about them because we just don't believe that the Angels are going to do right by Ohtani and Rendon, or Ohtani and Trout. But they're trying, and they have vastly improved. I will give them a lot of credit for what they have done. Tyler Anderson is a great addition on the pitching side. Good offseason.
You know the Angels are very near and dear to my heart.
I do.
And for the last better part of a decade, this has kind of been the hopeful feeling we have going into every season. They're going to be great. They added good pieces. They added arms. They added more depth to the lineup. Now we just need to see results. We have to see results. So I am hopeful. We'll dive deeper into this a little later in the show, but I'm always hopeful. I want them to win so badly.
For that reason you just mentioned is why I think a lot of people are just glossing over their offseason.
Yeah.
Because, there's always hope. But that doesn't mean the offseason that they've had doesn't deserve credit that I believe it deserved.
All right.
They've done well. Yep. They've added a good pitcher. They've added good offense. So the lineup won't be very, very, very top heavy and then fall off a cliff. It will be a good lineup. They've added a good pitcher. They deserve credit for the offseason that the Angels have had.
Okay.
And we'll talk more about that in a second, and I will let you go.
Yeah, I won't talk down on this because I'm always hopeful for my Angels.
Yes. At number 4, the New York Yankees.
Yep.
Again, I feel like it's important to note here that this list is very... How much did the team improve, right? Mm-hmm. Because you look at it on the surface and you say, how aren't the Yankees at the tippity top? You add the best hitter on the market and you add a pitcher that was one of the top 3 pitchers on the market. Well, to me, the big addition was Carlos Rodon. And to me, Aaron Judge was a must. That was a must. You had to do what you had to do. They got him, though, right? You got the top hitter on the market. You add Carlos Rodon. Automatically, you have a top offseason. But how much better did the offense get? Not at all. This is the same offense. And, a few pieces will be different. You'll have Peraza and Cabrera playing more of a full year, and hopefully we see Volpe at some point. But after the addition of Aaron Judge, because that was huge, he obviously was the MVP. But you look at what this offseason is, and it's the same. You look at the offense, it's the same offense that got swept by the Houston Astros in the ALCS. Where did they improve that much on offense? They did. They didn't do much other than add Aaron Judge, which they probably can't because they gave him a ton of money. But I do love Carlos Rodon. You know how high I am on Rodon. Yeah. I am a big, big, big Carlos Rodon fan, and pairing him with Garrett Cole at the top of that rotation is dangerous. So the team did get better. Mm-hmm. The offense didn't get much better, in my opinion. They have had the top 4 offseason.
I have him at number 2.
Okay.
But it's how can you not when you, again, he was already on the team, but you locked in Aaron Judge, the number 1 top free agent, reigning MVP that was on the market. And there were conversations that he might have gone somewhere else. He was flirting with it. So the fact that you brought him in, he's your captain, he is everything and more that this team needs, they got to be a top 2.
But I think they do need that and more. He's everything the team needs, and they need more. They need an offense. They need I'm just not used to anymore. The Yankees of old would have gone out and gotten one of the 4 major shortstops on the market.
Yeah, they would have.
And they would have added a bat to that lineup that didn't show up against the Astros. The Astros' superior pitching in the playoffs. So I was a little disappointed there. I hope Anthony Volpe can come up and be a stud because it looks like he's going to be, but we don't know that yet. And we don't know if he's going to when he's going to be on the team. So good offseason for the Yankees. I don't want to deter from that. Adding Aaron Judge back, adding Carlos Rodon was a must. They did that. Good for them. They're here at number 4 for me. Where are we?
3.
Number 3. At number 3, the Houston Astros. Lose Justin.
Yep.
Lose the Cy Young guy. Still a dominant rotation, which will now be led by Framber Valdez. But the additions. 1, Yuli Gurriel, gone from first base. Jose Abreu in. And what a stud Jose Abreu still is. Throughout his career, he has been one of the more underrated players in the game of baseball. The guy wins an MVP, for God's sakes, and that's even underrated because it was in the COVID year. So we don't talk about it as we do the other MVPs. He's an MVP winner. He's still a stud. He did great last year. The power numbers are a little lower, but still in a top tier of first baseman. I just did my first baseman tiers, and he was in that almost elite
And I said
category.
he should have been in elite.
Yes, you did. So he's still a stud. This is a massive upgrade for the Astros at the first base position. They also signed Michael Brantley, who Uncle Mike will hit until he is 80.
Yeah.
He just will. He's a stud. And they didn't have him in the playoffs. They didn't have him for the majority of the year. They signed him to a contract. They get Rafael Montero back to the best bullpen in baseball last year. The Astros are still going to be, right now they're the favorites. They have to be. They're dominant. They have a rotation led by Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, and they'll have Lance McCullers. They'll have Luis Garcia. It's going to be great. And the addition of Jose Abreu and Michael Brantley is just exactly what that team needed.
They're the reigning champs.
Where'd you have them?
I didn't have them in my top 5. I did not have them in my top 5.
No, Dodgers fan doesn't have the Houston Astros in her top 5. I am colorly shocked.
They are the reigning champs. They are great, okay? They have all the pieces. They filled some voids. I didn't think it was like, wow, groundbreaking offseason. They were already great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were already great, and they got better at positions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Yep.
Number 2, the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yep.
Trey Turner is going to fit into that lineup like
butter.
What's a good butter? Like butter. Trey Turner will be incredible in this lineup. He is incredible. And the reason, and they did other things that I feel like are good. And we can even start with those. They add guys like Taijuan Walker to a rotation that needed another piece. Add Matt Strahm, add Craig Kimbrell. But the big reason they are here is because they were a World Series team that had a very clear hole. And that hole was in the middle infield. And adding Trey Turner, who I can't speak highly enough about, he's an absolute stud. He does it all at a premium position. He's fast. He hits for high average. He hits for high power. He steals a ton of bases. It's the perfect piece for them. They added the perfect piece. And for that reason, I have them at number 2.
Yeah, they were top 3 for me. But I think the most important thing, too, not only having Trey Turner once Bryce Harper is back and healthy, but also filling that void and having that power bat in the lineup the first half of the season when he's not there, I think is going to be huge, too.
Yeah. And I think people don't, like, you say Trey Turner is a power bat. I don't think people understand the power that he does have. I think when you think Trey Turner, people think really fast, stealing bases, and can hit for power. He legitimately does it all.
Yeah.
He will hit for good power numbers, and he will do the rest as well. So a perfect addition. And then you just pair him to a lineup that, oh my God, has Kyle Schwarber, Rhys Hoskins, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper. When
they were just in the
back,
World Series.
Nick Castellanos. It's insane.
They were just in the World Series, and he just got better.
So good. The Phillies are so good.
They're fun.
And the NL East is going to be so good. I've had the Braves on this list now for best offseason, the Phillies on this list, and let's move on to my number one team, the number one offseason winner, the New York Mets. How can you not? And look, yes, they added Justin, who is coming off a Cy Young season. In fact, might I add, coming off of back-to-back Cy Young seasons for him because he didn't pitch for a little while. The last 2 seasons he's pitched, he's won a Cy Young award. The Mets add him. They add Kodai Senga from Japan, who is a prized pitching acquisition to get this offseason for anybody. The Mets get him. They get Jose Quintana, who had a sub-3 ERA last year. Listen to what I'm saying. You lose Jacob deGrom. You add Justin Verlander, Kodai Senga, Jose Quintana to a rotation with already Max Scherzer. It's insanity. The rotation has vastly improved. Brandon Nimmo, added him. Ottavino, Robertson, Edwin Diaz in the bullpen, and then Tommy Pham, who will be a 4th outfielder. It's insane how much they improved this offseason. And I'm interested because you've talked about what you had as a top 5. Where did the Mets come in?
Oh, they were number 1.
Yeah.
You have to. When you see it, the Mets are what the Yankees used to be. Going out and just spending the money to get whatever they need and doing whatever it takes to get there. I mean, you got Uncle Steve, who's not afraid to spend money. He's richest owner in the league, and he wants to win. This is going to be really exciting.
I think there's an interesting thing to be said here. Of you mentioned that the Mets are like what the Yankees of the past were.
Yeah.
The Mets were at the very top 3 in last year's top off seasons.
Yeah.
Right? And now they're number 1. This is what Mets fans can expect going forward. As long as Steve Cohen is owning this team, who grew up a lifelong Mets fan, and now he's the richest owner in baseball and owns the team, they're going to continue to be on this list one way or another. I'm not going to say they're going to be number 1 every offseason, though if they get Shohei Ohtani next offseason, they'll be number 1.
Yep.
But they will be in play for him. And if they don't get him, all that Shohei Ohtani money is going elsewhere. They will do something. And Steve Cohen has done more than enough to prove that to everybody, every fan of baseball, and every Mets fan, that every year going forward, expect the New York Mets on the list of top offseason winners. And that's a pretty cool feeling to have as a fan.
Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.